Hello and thank you for watching. My name is Rachel Barnett with Gentle Frog. I'm here to create videos for you to help you understand QuickBooks slightly better than you currently do. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please put them in the chat box. Thank you.
I am in the middle of doing my first big cleanup for a client. And so I've done quite a bit of work. And so there's a couple of things that I just want you to check to make sure I did correctly. And then there's a couple of things that I'm not sure what I need to do or if I need more information from the client. And so I just kind of want to go through his books and make sure that I've cleaned it up correctly, I guess.
Okay.
So these undeposited funds, I'll click on, and they're all just sales receipts. And so I don't think, I think I need to ask the client, if they were paid in cash, or I'm not quite sure, what to do with them. They were not showing up. I've reconciled all of the accounts, and so they weren't showing up in the bank. And so I don't know what to do with them.
Okay. Hey, I feel like it'd be easier for me to look at it on the left-hand side if you go to plus new and then go to
Okay.
bank deposit. So we can make a list of what is outstanding. So here are the things that are outstanding. So we don't care about that other list because it had more than these 5 things.
Okay.
Okay, so we have these 5 things. We don't care how they got paid. These are all dated for January through March. Can we go to the check register? Let's pick on this guy. 324. So I'm gonna write this down. 324, 1340. All right, let's go to the check register and we're gonna see if we can find something magical.
Okay, so do you want me to
just close out of this and go to the check register?
Okay. So now where do you need me
A
to
shortcut would be to change this from undeposited funds to the check register. So if you scroll up, it'll say bank, and then eventually you get to the check register. So the first thing we see is that it's reconciled through April. So then we're going to say, well, QuickBooks, can you show me the stuff that is in the register that is not reconciled, not cleared? And QuickBooks will do that. So we'll click on the funnel on the left-hand side. We're going to say reconcile status not reconciled. And we're going to say through 4/28/23. And choose apply. So here we've got a list of things that are not reconciled. 1340 doesn't show. Oh, right. Yeah, 1340 wouldn't show up. Okay. So we have I'm sorry, I was just thinking of something else and I'm like, this is useful, but we're not ready for it yet. Okay. I did not mean to draw on your screen. I was trying to move a picture. Can we look at the profit and loss and the income detail? Because what I want to know is if some of this money, because there isn't any, the money we're looking for is $1,300 and it's not sitting there and cleared. So I'm like, oh, maybe it got entered, but got entered in a different way. So just make it for this year, because that's really what you're working on is this year. Okay. You'll do run report, and then you'll click on the 45,000 for income. And then once that opens, we're going to look at the transaction type, and I think it'll be faster. I know this one doesn't have a lot, but go up to the upper left. On the left-hand side, can you click on the word sort and have it sort by transaction type? Because what we're looking for is if there's any transaction type that says deposit rather than saying invoice, sales receipt, etc. And stuff here, it's organized alphabetically. And so we know that when we look at sales of product income, there's invoices, sales receipts, and no matter how far you scroll, you're not going to get to D for deposit. So that means you can collapse your sales of product income. And now you've got these deposits and they're all assigned to uncategorized income. So that I think is weird. And I think that's a different problem. But what I was thinking about was okay, with this person who paid $1,340, is there any chance in the world that that money is showing up here or it got combined with other money and it's showing as an uncategorized income when it should have been connected to an undeposited fund? these large ATM deposits,
I haven't been able to connect them to any sales receipts or invoices.
I would ask if they were, if these large ATMs are just the owner investing money into their business rather than a
Okay.
sale. Because it's
Okay.
just nice big round numbers. Like, is your client's sales typically a round number or no? And I would say probably no.
Okay. Yeah, I've exported all of these 6 or 7, to and sent them to him, and I'm waiting to hear back because I don't know what they are.
Yeah, that's fine.
So,
Okay.
okay.
So we know that our $1,300 isn't sitting here. We know it's not sitting in the register. So then maybe possibly it's duplicates. Let's go back
Okay.
to plus new, go to deposit. And I just pick one thing to work on because it's easier than bouncing all around. Okay, so now we know this person's name. So can we close out of this and then we'll go look up that person. On the left-hand side, we'll go to sales, we'll go to customers, and we'll find that person. And like, this seems so silly, but sometimes I have clients that will make the same invoice 2 times. And like, what if that happened here? Fingers crossed.
I think this was his name.
Yeah. And there's only one entry of 1,300. So now you've basically done everything you can to try to find it within QuickBooks. Because it's dated for a month before the last bank statement. It's not like it's likely to show up on the next bank statement because you've already reconciled the next bank statement. So your next step is to do this for all your things, but then ask your client to say like, hey, there are these payments that are showing up in QuickBooks that you received money from your client, but I can't see where it went to the bank. Can you let me know how this went to the bank, or if it maybe just went into your personal account by mistake?
Okay. And I do know he's told me he holds on to quite a bit of cash, like thousands of dollars of cash. And so
Okay.
that was going to be my thought and what I was going to ask him, but I just wanted to make sure that I had done everything I could before asking him about it.
Exactly. Yeah, you totally have. So then if he's holding on to a lot of cash, then I would make a register in QuickBooks for petty cash. And anytime a customer provides money and the money goes into the cash, oh, you've got a cash on hand
I've
account.
got a cash on hand. And that was going to be another question. I'm waiting for him to give me like an updated, accurate amount of money that he has.
Yeah.
And then, like, I guess, how do I reconcile that? Like, if he tells me he's got $45,000 cash.
Right. And QuickBooks shows 43.
Yeah.
I would ask him, ask him if he has any sort of register or log. If the amount of money he has is different than the amount of money QuickBooks knows about, you'll have to go to him and say, well, here's all of the information QuickBooks has. Like, here's a listing of everything that's in that account. Like, what am I missing?
Okay.
And your client should have some sort of like petty cash register. They could have like a logbook that they got from the office supply store. They could have an Excel document. They could have like a notepad. Like, it doesn't matter, but like the best you can do is put information in based on what you're provided, and you have to know like, hey, just wondering, like, I need like some sort of record.
Something, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, which would be perfect, because if that money that's sitting in undeposited funds really went into the safe, then you can deposit that into cash on hand. And then the money that goes into the bank, if it came out of cash on hand, you can just make it a transfer from cash on hand into the checking, and you never need to go match it up, right? Like, if you have $20 in your purse, you're never going to go, well, that was because I had this one client and I did this work and I got them. Who cares?
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
So this was something I've watched a lot of your videos on previous year adjustments. And so I didn't know if I did this correctly because so this was something from last year.
Yeah.
And so I just went in and made a journal entry to zero it out. I don't know that I did that correctly.
Yeah, you did. But you know what? This is one entry. if it seems logical that this guy purchased a single thing from Lowe's and you know what
Mhm.
they would have purchased, then I would probably just change prior year adjustments to be whatever the category should or would have been.
The expense account. Okay.
Yeah, like I'm not going to do that for a big long list of stuff. But if it's one thing, I'm like, it's exactly the same amount of
The
effort
same.
to write this
Okay.
note that says, "Oh, I couldn't be bothered." Um,
Okay.
yeah.
I guess I just didn't know because that might mess with his numbers from last year,
Oh,
and he's
it's
already filed taxes, and I don't know.
so
You
at
know what
no
I'm
point did I
saying?
say change your dates. I'm just saying that in this record for
Oh, I
2023,
see. I see.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So it's going above and beyond what you've committed to do, but if you can look at this and say it's one single entry that got coded wrong, I'll make the correction. I'll date it for the current year. I'll make a note that says like, yeah, I know this happened last year. It went in the wrong spot. I'm fixing it, blah blah.
Okay.
I would never like I wouldn't do that to be nice if it was multiple entries, but one single entry, you just
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. These uncategorized income, these are all those deposits that we've kind of already talked about. So I'm just waiting to, I guess, hear from the client.
Yeah.
Another question I had, which this also might be something that I need more from the client as well.
Mhm.
He has an Intuit financing loan. He took a loan out for 36,000, and he's given me the original document that states, I don't know if I can like show you the document or if it's too private, but it states like the gross amount he took out 36,000 and gives me the interest rate, but it doesn't break out the payments. Like it says there's a monthly payment of 3,244 cents, but I don't know how much is interest versus principal. And so I don't know if I need more from him or what I need to do with this.
Somewhere he should be able to get some sort of statement. Um, the way
Like
I
a
describe it to my clients is like, if you win the lottery, how would you know how much to pay off? I mean, you've
okay.
been making principal payments, but like, how much do you write the big check for? And that's usually enough to help them understand what I need in a statement. Like, if you got some sort of record that said, here's my amount that I owe, then you can figure out how much of his payments went to principal versus interest.
Okay. Because he's told me like he's got 3 more payments to make.
Does
So
the I don't know Intuit financing, but if you read through the papers,
mhm.
does it say that I don't know how to describe this. Some loans you pay a huge chunk of money up front and there is not like an interest payment every single time. In other loans, you pay interest every single payment.
It says there's a daily interest rate on the
Okay.
interest amount on the principal
Okay.
amount.
Yeah, I just ask him for something that shows
Okay.
his current balance
Okay.
and
Okay.
figure out where the 36,000 went. Because right now, all we see is he's just giving into it money because he's cool.
Yeah. Well, and he didn't have an account at all. He was putting all of this, I don't know, into a different, he was putting this into his QuickBooks payments expense account. And
Okay.
so I create when I saw these, I just quickly created a liability account, but I didn't have any details yet on how much the loan was for or anything. So that's why I just categorized them into that, but that's why I didn't know how much it was for
Oh,
until like yesterday.
okay. When you have time, go find the deposit and make sure that the deposit isn't showing up as like awesome income or something like that,
Okay.
if that
The
makes
deposit
sense.
from last year. Okay. That makes sense.
Right. Yeah, because right
Okay.
now this is just showing he's paying this for no reason. And I'm saying that there should be an increase to the liability.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. That was going to be another question was how I got 36,000, like how I started with the 36,000. So there should be a deposit. Okay.
Yeah, somewhere he
That
received
makes
the
sense.
money. Like it went into his bank account, and we don't know how it
Right.
got classified because it sure as the world didn't get called a loan.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Last year, he was coding everything to inventory asset.
Hmm.
And I've since learned that he wants it to be cost of goods sold instead.
Hmm.
Um, and so I just took let me see if I can even find it. I just took the gross, like the total amount. This 56,000 is what he was ending the year with. And I made a journal entry to transfer it over to cost of goods sold. Is that
Okay.
accurate? Is that,
I mean,
I didn't know what to do with it.
was his inventory set up? Can you go to products and services? This is what
Mhm.
I'm worried about. I'm like, was it set up as an inventory? And it's gonna be way easier just to look and see. So your logic is sound. I just want to know, okay, nothing is in here as an inventory, which is great. It means that you won't accidentally go into negative inventory, which was my
Right.
concern.
Well, and he's on simple start, so he
Okay,
couldn't have inventory anyways.
that's fine.
So, okay.
And he's on a cash basis. And
Hmm.
okay, yeah, it makes sense, like what he's asking for. Just let him know that his profit and loss, if he looks at January, it's going to show this like huge expense for all of that inventory, because it got put there, as opposed to like every month the stuff got purchased, it went into the correct bucket.
Okay.
I just let people know, like, even though you and I know it, even though he knows he said he wanted to change this, I just let them
Mhm.
know. I'm like, hey, just making sure you're super duper aware when you look at your reports, it's gonna look a little funny. Here's why it looks funny. I didn't do anything wrong. Um,
Okay.
so yeah.
Okay. And yeah, the only reason I did that was because the inventory like carries over on the balance sheet. And so,
Exactly.
like, so okay.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't even know if I need to mess with this or not, but again, it was carrying over. So I just want the balance sheet to look as accurate as possible, I guess.
It's not going to. Um,
Okay.
if you wanted to look accurate, you tell him that his balance sheet should show the inventory that he has not yet sold. But if your client doesn't intend to track the inventory that they've not
Yeah.
yet sold for any variety of reasons, then you've got it in cost of goods sold.
Okay.
I usually don't fight with my clients on it. I tell them
Yeah.
that, like, I would love it if they could see every single month, like, here are my sales and here's what it cost for me to make those sales. And yeah, you bought inventory. Great. I'm going to throw that on the balance sheet because right now it's sitting in your storeroom. Like it's not a thing that you have yet sold.
Hmm.
But if someone is totally determined that they want it to be set up in a particular way, I'll set up in the particular way. And then at the end of the year, when it's time to send the notes to the tax person, I try to just send them quick little notes of like, hey, here's some stuff that you might raise an eyebrow about. You might not, just not, you should know these things.
Okay. Well,
You,
he files his own taxes. He doesn't have an accountant or anything. So there's no
yeah,
one to
then he's
double
just
check all of this.
well, and never assume that the tax person is going to be your babysitter and double checking it.
Yeah. Okay.
People
Okay.
assume that the tax person will look it over. They
They
might
don't.
look at it and be like, this is super insanely off, or they might not look at it at all. Like
Okay.
they've got a ton to do. They don't QC work.
Okay. I have a list of questions that I wanted
Yeah.
you to check.
Okay, yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
And so then there's these two transactions without payees. I don't know if those are concerning or not. Like,
No, because the first one, that's some sort of expense that you have to get information for. In the
mhm.
second one, there wouldn't be a payee. It's
Okay.
you making an adjustment. If you feel like you want a payee, make a vendor called adjustment.
Okay. And then these are all, okay, see, and these are all from 2022. So I don't need to do anything with them, correct?
I'm not going to sign off on that.
Okay.
What I think I'm looking at here is stuff that is sitting in your check register and messing up your checking balance. Does that sound right?
I made journal entries to get my opening balance correct.
Can we go to the reconciliation screen? So I feel like it's messy when you have a bunch of unreconciled stuff and you're just, when people ignore it. So here's what we want to do. We want to put the date over here. We want to put the ending balance over here. We want to click on start reconciling and just see, is there anything we can do to get rid of anything that is sitting there uncleared? So okay, well, those I would work on later, but where is the stuff that is uncleared? Is it in a different register? Because I was thinking we would see a big long list of it here, and now I'm like, well, now what? Can you click on any one of those?
Yeah.
When you click on it, it'll tell us where the money is going, and then we'll know like what to look
A
at.
lot of those might be cash.
Okay, yeah, they're going to cash. Okay. So yeah, once you get some sort of register for the cash account, and you're not going to get like a magical bank statement, but if he has an Excel doc or paper or something, then you can reconcile and just reconcile it against whatever you're given.
Okay.
It drives me nuts when QuickBooks does that. It has the uncleared. So I'm like, how did I have so much that I just never dealt with? But then you're like, oh, it's the cash.
Okay, that's what, because I thought I had his books like fairly clean. Well, I knew what I didn't have cleaned up, and then I was going through all of these tabs and I saw all of those sitting there, and I was like, I thought I cleared all that. So that makes sense.
Yeah, that's what it is. So when you get your stuff, I would reconcile it just to whatever record you have so that it doesn't show up here. So that when you're double checking yourself, you're not like, oh yeah, these are, because I can't even figure out a way to change this view to tell me what the account is. And so then this becomes super unhelpful because I'm like, now I don't even have like an at a glance to tell me if I have an action item or not.
Okay. That might be pretty much all of my like major questions. Oh, there we go. Okay. So when he gets paid through PayPal or Venmo, or those are the main ones, they're his personal accounts. And so he's just created this miscellaneous electronic. And I don't know if that's like what to do with that, if that's okay.
It doesn't matter. This is not correct, but this doesn't matter. So this payment method, that's just for him to feel good about having a payment method there. The deposit too, it sounds like it's going to him personally. It doesn't sound like it's going to the checking account. It might eventually, this money that goes into his personal bank account might later leave his personal bank account and go into the business account. But what I hear you saying is that this money goes into his personal bank and then he does something with it.
Yes.
So
he makes deposits from PayPal to the checking account.
Okay, so it goes into the business. It doesn't go to his personal. So then I would make the deposit to say PayPal, because the money that in real life he's collecting $225. It goes into PayPal. PayPal would give him $220 because they take out their fee, however much it is. He then transfers a smaller amount into QuickBooks. You need to pick a system, and there's not like one single system. You need to be able to tell QuickBooks, I have received this amount of money, which goes to the sales receipt and had this haircut taken off the top. So you can make a PayPal register and then deposit it into PayPal and then pull the money out of PayPal when the transfers come in. Or you can make this one say deposit to undeposited funds and then record the PayPal fee and then put in the total when the money shows up in the bank account.
Okay.
What you can't do is have it go straight to the bank account because he's not transferring $225 into the business, is he?
No.
Exactly. Depending on how it happens and how you feel about it, you can either have it go into undeposited funds and then take off the fee, or you can have it go into a PayPal bank account and then just transfer money in the same way that you're going to transfer the petty cash, where you don't keep track of every single penny. You're like, look, I'm just going to organize my summaries and get it into the checking account.
Okay. How do I get that information from him about like what the fee is?
You don't. You have it and you don't know it. when you see him deposit money into the checking account and it says
Mhm.
that it came from PayPal,
Mhm.
you're going to see how much money comes in.
Mhm.
How many
And then I can
records?
figure out the
Yeah.
difference.
Like
Okay.
if he's doing like 1 or 2 PayPals a month, no problem. If he's doing
Yeah.
100 a month, you're going to pull out your hair. You're going to be like, this was the worst idea on earth.
It, I mean, so far in the first 4 months, it's only been 1 or 2, I think. So it's not a lot.
Yeah, if that's all it is, I would take back my earlier plan to make a PayPal bank account, and I would deposit it to undeposited funds, and then when I see the money come in, I would record the fee, and then I can connect. So that way, when it shows up on bank feeds, it'll say match. That's really what you want.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That might be what some of those other undeposited funds are then. There's a couple, maybe they're the deposits that I'm like, well, it could have been these PayPal ones. So 233.55.
Yeah.
That could have been that 250 one that I was just on.
Yeah, I would look
Right?
at the date of your sales receipt. Is it possible that it could be similar? So this is dated for 2/7. Do you have a
And this
record? And this is
this
2/7.
2/7.
So I mean, it seems possible. Do you know how to record the fee on the undeposited funds?
I don't know.
Okay. So we know that our goal is to have the deposit be 233. If we forget, we can find it by clicking on the blue hyperlink in the right. That's going to be important. So I'm going to write this down, 233.55. Can you click the box next to the person's name and then scroll down where it says add funds to this deposit? You're going to trash can this first line because it's not helping you any. And then over here for account, what account would you use for PayPal fees? Bank fees, merchant fees, PayPal fees. It's not a trick question.
We don't have one yet, so probably bank merchant fees, I guess.
Whatever you want. Like it's
Okay.
your office policy. Like when a client comes to you and they don't have an account,
Oh,
what
okay.
do you
I
like to call the account?
I call it merchant fees.
Right.
Does the detail type doesn't matter?
Not at all.
Okay. I'm gonna take this in the other room. Okay. Okay.
Over
Merchant
to the
fee.
right, save and close. So now you've got an account. So you've got a payment here and you need to minus some money so that the money that goes in the bank is correct. So
Okay.
what you can do is you can type in this box. Our goal is to get to 233.55. So you'll type in 233.55. Then you'll put a minus sign to the end of it. Nope. I need you to do 23355 and put a minus on the end.
Oh, the other side. On the other
Yeah.
end. Okay.
Because you're minusing and you're going to minus 240.75. And then you'll click with your mouse anywhere else on your screen. Now,
I did not
QuickBooks.
know you could enter.
I know. Nobody
Questions.
does.
Okay.
Like you show your clients this, they're going to think you're like a total rock star. So now what you're doing is you're saying the total amount of money that went to my bank is these dollars. The reason is because I had earned these, I paid this much in fee, and that's what was left over.
Okay. Okay. Thank
So
you. That
yeah,
was very useful.
it's a little bit of work, but I mean, really, if you only have a handful of PayPals, this is way less work than any other crazy idea I can come up with for you.
Okay. Yeah. Well, and like I said, I think like I've done his books through April, and I think there's only 2, maybe 3 PayPal, so it shouldn't be too much.
Awesome. So this, and then the thing about reconciling is fine because your total is the same.
Okay.
Yeah, getting comfortable with entering the fee will benefit you greatly because this is what you'll do anytime that there's fees. Square fee, stripe fee, whatever. Like just knowing
Okay.
how to do that will be really helpful.
Okay. Awesome.
All right. Is there anything else driving you nuts before I let you go?
Other than my toddler.
Not much I can do
The
about that.
I know. The last thing is this credit card.
Yes.
He is not active anymore. He like only had 2 transactions in January and he no longer uses the credit card, which is why it hasn't been reconciled.
So you want to just turn it
Is
off?
there anything I do about it? Like, is it
If
just
he's
always going to be in this list?
if he's for reals not going to use the credit card anymore, just inactivate it in the chart of accounts.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that was pretty much all of my questions.
Okay, cool.